This is Ray.
This is Andy.
And this is FDS Local Sports, Andy.
How's it going, Ray?
Andy.
Yeah?
What a great weekend of football.
It was.
I was down in Wolfville at the Loney Bowl.
Yep.
And I want to tell you about Loney Bowl, but before I do, there was a Super Saturday that took place in Fredericton.
Mm-hmm.
All three high school finals were there, and we need to talk about some high school finals, and then we'll talk some AUS.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
All right?
All right.
Hey, listen, first of all, let's talk about Super Saturday.
Yeah.
It was, I believe, the first time in quite some time that all three games were held at the same place, same time.
Yep.
First of all, tell me what you think about that concept.
I like the idea of the concept, parts of it. I understand how certain teams that maybe earn the right to host playoff games would rather have it at their home field. I understand that everybody having to travel to one location, basically it's inconveniencing many and conveniencing the few, like the people that are actually in that particular area. Yep. Excuse me. Sorry, Ray. But, yeah, I like the idea of all the games kind of being together and back-to-back and so on and so forth. However, I totally understand if parents don't enjoy the traveling aspect of it. So,
this episode of FDS Local Sports is brought to you by Halls.
yeah.
It's cool. It's soothing. It helps that cough.
Sparkling water does too, and I finished it during the NFL show. And now I'm, I'll make it.
All right, you'll make it. Let me do some talking, give you a break.
Tell me about your thoughts on Super Saturday.
Listen, I love the idea. I love the concept of Super Saturday.
Yep.
For me personally, like if I was there to watch the 9-man, I love the fact I can stick around and catch the other two finals as well. Makes for a long day.
Yeah.
You need to have something like you have to have restaurants close or something close so that I can take breaks at some point during the game to go sit down, have a meal, But I do love the fact that if, whether I'm officiating a game or I can go and watch all three finals. I love that. I think it's great.
Okay.
The Aiken Center in Fredericton, BMO Field is actually the name of the field that put it on. And I question that field right off the bat. And I have heard from a few coaches.
I have too.
About the field.
And because I haven't gotten any positive reviews.
No, I worked this field years ago. And the end zones, the field goal posts are at the back of the end zones. They're not at the front like Canadian football.
Okay.
Plus the end zones, I believe, are only 10. I don't even know if they're 10 yards deep.
Right.
Which the Canadian football end zone's 20 yards deep. And the dimension of the width of the field is also an issue too.
Right.
But for high school football, there's enough width of the field to play. It just, again, when you change the dynamic of the field goal posts from the front of the end zone to the back of the end zone, that does have an impact on a game.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know, like, I'm just trying to use a little common sense here, but there's a lot of really nice turf fields that are regulation size and regulation dimensions for the Canadian football. So I question why we would choose to have all of our championship games, the most important games of the season, hosted at a field that isn't even the right size.
Listen, I've made my point very clear in the fact that if I was these teams, I want to play where CFL players have played.
Yeah.
Medivie Blue Cross would be a perfect stadium. Not only that, but they've got the capacity to bring in the food vendors and the stuff you need for a day-long Super Saturday event.
Yeah.
Plus all the seating in the world. I'd love to see these championship games get moved to Medivie Blue Cross Stadium at UDM. And we'll see where that goes in the future.
Yeah, I hope they take into account the facilities and the comfort of the teams as much as the people that are going to watch it. Because what I've heard for the most part was it wasn't a great setup at all for the teams. There were no bathrooms in the locker rooms. I think I even heard, and the games were too close together to the point where the teams warming up for their game were taking away from the celebrations of the others by ruining photo ops and so on and so forth. Right. So. Just listen, it's the first time they've done this, right?
I think so. I think it is.
Then it's a learning experience like anything else, and we'll go from there.
Yep. Let's talk about Division II. Odyssey versus our buddies ESA.
Le Castor.
Le Castor Nation. Okay? Tough game for the Castors. I knew it was going to be a tough game for the Castors. I mean, we've talked about this Devin Niles kid, and not only Devin Niles, but a number of these kids all year. And let me just roll through. Odyssey wins this game, Andy, 35-14. Dominic LeBlanc opened up the scoring with a rushing touchdown. Samuel LeBlanc had 2 receiving touchdowns. Listen to this, 60 yards and 80 yards receiving touchdown.
Woo.
Caleb Fogarty, I mean, this kid, we mention his name every single week. 8-yard touchdown run. Gabriel Gagne, 7-yard touchdown run. And Jean-Baptiste Boyer, he hit every convert. So, Odyssey is led by that number 5, Devin Niles, and this kid, I've said it many times, he's the next level quarterback. He was going to come out prepared to play in this game, and he did just that.
Yeah, and I think everybody expected to be tough for the Castors, and that's the only game that they lost in the season was playing against Odyssey. Our prediction guys, they predicted it to be a tight game, but they all predicted Odyssey winning the game. So
they did. Now, you got to remember, folks, this is the Castors' second year in a program, and they're already in the finals in their second year. Yeah. And I was speaking to Coach Drysdale through Messenger, and he tells me that Caleb Tremblay scored the 2 touchdowns from his brother Sam in this game. And guess what, Andy?
What's that?
Those 2 brothers, they're only in grade 11. They're back for their grade 12 year.
Got another year.
Watch out for Castors Nation next in 2020. Because the Tremblay brothers are going to be back for the Castors.
There we go. Yeah. Awesome.
There you go. That's your Division II championship. I also want to give a quick shout out to Justin Robichaud and Jordan Blacklock, who also had big games for the defense for the Odyssey Olympians as well.
Great.
Okay.
All right.
Why don't you tell us about the 9-man?
The 9-man. Listen, the James M. Hill Tommy shocked everybody by taking out Rossi and making it to the final. I think we all thought they were going to have their hands full by a lot with Sussex. Sussex defense is absolutely brutal. They've given up very few points. JMA struggled against them. Though, I mean, kept the points that Sussex was able to score to a reasonable level and really give them a hard time, I think, in the first half. Sussex wins this game 21-0. Sussex scored early, and at halftime it was 14-0. JMH still had an opportunity to get back into the game, and they almost did that. They stripped the ball from Sussex and returned it all the way to the 5-yard line. And the Sussex defense did what they do, and they buckled down. And not only did they shut them down, but they caused a fumble of their own and recovered it. Oh, wow. And got out of there. And then later on in the third quarter, they sealed the victory by moving it up to 21-0. And that's the way the game ended. A lot of familiar names for me to give you right here from Sussex. Noah Forgrave had a touchdown run. Owen Dunfield, who we talk about all the time, had a touchdown throw and a touchdown run and 2 interceptions on defense. Wow.
Caleb
Spence had the touchdown catch. The defense, listen, 9 total games, 27 points against. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. They had 2 interceptions this game, 4 fumbles recovered and a sack. And big shout out to the following players that had big games and big impacts on the game. And guys we talk about all the time: Jason Beach, Anthony McLean, Jagger Rogers, Devin Robinson, and Tyler McLean. I did not hear from Coach Marty Moore of GMH to give us any information on what happened there. But, I mean, at this point, I don't blame them for not reaching out. It is what it is. Listen, the fact that the James M. L. Tommies were even in the championship is huge, and I'm very proud of them for getting there. And Sussex is just, I mean, a way to cap off an amazing year.
Well, maybe he's not reaching out to you because you got your Palamu hat on.
Well, you know what? When you get blanked in the championship, I'm not wearing the green hat.
Listen, big shout out to the Tommies, though. Big shout out to the Tommies. You guys had a great year in their 3rd year in high school football.
Yep.
And I still think they should deserve a parade up in the Miramichi region for knocking off Rosse.
This 3-league format, the 9-man league, is just a wonderful thing, really, the way it's working out for all of the teams that are involved in it and keeping things very competitive. Yep. So I like it.
Awesome.
All right.
12-man Division I.
The big game.
Could Riverview finally knock off Tantramar in a provincial final? That was the big question heading into the game. Mm-hmm. Okay. what were we going to see from Tantramar in this game? And what was Riverview going to be able to do to put points up on the board? This was a pretty low-scoring game compared to what I've seen in the past from Tantramar and Riverview High. This game, though, Andy, really comes down to one player. One player. All right? Many players played in this game.
Yes.
But I'm saying one player.
Wow. Well, way to talk team here, Ray. I'm kidding. Who's the player?
Owen O'Neill.
Okay.
Listen, this kid put up 413 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns, and 3 tackles and an interception in a game that was 23-13.
413 yards.
413 yards rushing, Andy. 3 touchdowns, Owen O'Neill. Now, hold on for a second, folks. I know I said it comes down to one person. There's 5 guys I'm forgetting. That's the offensive lineman.
Yeah.
The offensive line for Tantramar, which I don't have their names. It wasn't provided to me. These 5 guys, you guys are MVPs. I'm sure Owen O'Neill got the MVP in this game, but the offensive line, you two are MVPs from FDS's perspective. That is an unbelievable number. Do you want to know what Tantramar passed for in this game?
What?
1 completion. 1 completion.
Yep.
For 2 attempts for a total of 15 yards passing.
Wow.
This game plan that Coach O'Neill put together was 100% around the run, and his son delivered with again, I can't believe it, 413 yards, 3 touchdown performance. Their defense, Trevor Delonte, Evan Finney, Chase Clayton, Colby Tower, Joe Carpenter, Mason Prescott. These guys all came out with multiple tackles as well. Tantramar came out to win this game. They've now won 5 provincial championships. And other than the 3 games that were reversed on them, went again undefeated.
That's right.
That's amazing.
Amazing.
It's amazing.
Yep.
Amazing. Riverview did rush for 192, they had a total of 192 yards in this game with 114 yards also on the ground. They put up 13 points. This was a very low-scoring game from what I've seen in the past from these 2 teams.
Yeah.
But congratulations to Tantramar. That's unbelievable. 5 provincial championships in a row.
Yeah.
And the last time they lost a game was against Riverview.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just crazy. What a great final game that must have been.
I think I saw a Facebook comment saying you're building a dynasty there. It's built.
No, that dynasty's there.
Yeah, there's no building. It's built. It's there.
It's been built. It's been in place.
Yep.
And until another team steps up, it's going to exist.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. All right. What do you want to get into now? We going Loney Bowl?
Let's go talk some Loney Bowl.
Let's do it.
It was an awesome day. What an awesome day. I left Moncton on the Friday night before these high school games and before the Loney Bowl. We had some weather. There was snow on the ground. Mm-hmm. Driving across the pass to Acadia. We leave early. So we're on the road. I was on the road by 7 a.m.
Yep.
And going across the it was bad.
Yeah.
It was bad. The road was in rough shape. Now, I talked to Jeannie a couple of hours. She left a couple hours after me. It was fine. But at 7 o'clock in the morning,
bad news.
It was not great shape. We got to Acadia, snow on the ground all over the place. But it looked beautiful. The town is beautiful. The field looked great. We did a pre-game walk around the field. It was fantastic. Acadia came to win this game, Andy.
Yep.
They were taking on Bishops, who had just knocked off Mount A, and Acadia came out and won this game 31-1. Mm-hmm. Bishops missed a field goal in the third quarter, went through the end zone to get their one and only point of the day. Hunter Grenard, 269 yards, threw an interception. But this game all came down to Dale Wright. Very similar to Owen O'Neill with Tantramar. Dale Wright gets 20 attempts for 118 yards, averaged 5.9 yards per carry, Andy.
Yeah.
3 touchdowns, and he basically put the Axemen on his shoulders and carried him to victory.
Yeah, and I mean, despite the fact that it was a bit of a runaway, I tuned in to watch the entire game, so I saw you out there. I saw you doing your job. You weren't on camera quite as much as usual. They didn't come to your side of the field.
Not much happening on my sideline this game.
A couple notes that I was writing down as I was watching it. Bishop's punter had a really tough day. I mean, listen, when he gets a hold of one, he's a great punter, but everything was going off the side of his foot. He was having a hard time changing field position at all, like the whole day.
I'm 35, 40 yards downfield on a punt.
Yeah.
And every single one of his punts came down well in front of me.
Yeah. On the other side, though, Ben George, our Moncton Mustang, had a great day kicking the ball, both punting and field goals. Yep. He was solid, and I believe he was named the player, AUS Special Teams Player of the Week in all of this.
Yeah.
That looked great. Listen, Dale Wright was the key. And I want to say, like, what I loved about Dale Wright is when Dale Wright scores a touchdown, he just jogs back to the bench. There's no stupid celebrating.
And I'll tell you another thing I love about Dale Wright is the fact that when the whistle blows and players are yapping, he's the first one into his guys and say, get back to the huddle.
Yep.
Get back to the huddle.
Yep.
We don't need that out here. And I love that about him. He is a great athlete and a great leader. Yeah.
And one thing I'll say about Acadia, they absolutely dominated in this game, when you look at the score. But, like, heading into the UTECK Bowl, listen, Bishop's left a lot of interceptions out there on the field. I mean, they had at least 3 picks in their hands, maybe 4. So Hunter's going to have to be a lot more accurate than that, or make better decisions than that when he faces a juggernaut like Montreal. But that said, I'm not trying to be negative about it. Listen, Bishop's defense had put forth a great effort.
Yep.
Listen, it would have been a lot closer game if the turnovers that were there to be had were all had, you know. And other than that, watching the game from home, I just want to say your buddy Vince Williams, who wasn't out there reffing with you because he was working TV, he had an interesting day.
I hear you caught a great interview by Vince Williams.
The halftime interview was wonderful, folks. So if you want to hop on AUS TV and go check it out, please do. But otherwise, we may get a little something to you.
Andy's working on a production right now. It will be out on a YouTube channel soon. What are you calling it? You're calling it Vince Williams with Coach Jeff
I don't know what we're calling it just
Cummins.
Yet. Yeah, we'll come up with something.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, just a couple other shout-outs. Bailey Feltmate, I talked to him a couple times during this game. He had 6.5 tackles in the game. Pre-game, before the game, all the Axemen decided they were going to dye their hair blonde.
Okay.
So they all had blonde hair for the game. And it was pretty funny seeing these guys seeing the mugs on these guys before the game with their helmets all off. Even Dale Wright had the blonde mohawk and the blonde in his beard.
There you go.
So anyways, hopefully that, I don't know what they're going to do this week. Maybe it'll be all red hair. Who knows?
Guys, come on. Red.
Let's
Red
go
would be
red.
way more
It'd be
interesting.
perfect.
I mean, like some guys on the team wouldn't even have to do anything. Ben George is already blonde.
Well, listen, they got a big game coming up this week, Andy. Because they are now that they've won the Loney Bowl, they will be hosting the UTECK. And folks across the Maritimes, this is going to be a fantastic ball game. I really encourage you to get out. Come down to Wolfville, check it out. It's not that far of a drive. Andy, Canadian University football was exciting this weekend because the top 2 seeds in our country, Western and Laval, are gone.
Yep.
They're gone. Okay? Let's first of all talk about Montreal.
Yep.
So Montreal Caravan, they knocked off Laval. They're coming out east to take on Acadia. Just to give you a little details about Montreal, they went 6-2 this year. In the semi, they beat McGill 39-6, and in the final, they beat Laval 25-10.
It was a big effort.
Big effort.
Because those 2 losses in the regular season were both to Laval, correct?
No, one was to Laval, one was to Sherbrooke.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. They've got a quarterback. His name's Fred Paquette Perreault.
Perreault.
Paquette Perreault.
Yeah.
He replaced the quarterback Dimitri Morin in week 7 of the season. This kid has a very strong arm from what I've seen so far, and he has scrambling, rushing ability.
Okay.
He is a quarterback that can scramble and make plays happen with his legs.
Okay.
I'm not going to say Lamar-like, but he can definitely make plays with his legs.
There we go. Yeah.
He's got a couple really good running backs, Reda Malik, Raith Garrard, and out at wide receiver, they've got some really big weapons, Kevin Kea, Antonio Shabbat, and Carl Shabbat.
Yep.
So Montreal's coming to town. We know who Acadia is. We know Dale Wright's going to be getting the ball for Acadia.
Yep.
And it's going to be a really good football game this week. And it's going to be a competitive ball game. I'm really going to say it's going to be a competitive ball game this week. In the other final, we had Calgary knock off Saskatchewan. McMaster pulls a big upset and knocks off Western with your buddy Taylor Burns at offensive guard.
Yep.
For McMaster. So McMaster's going to be taking on Calgary and the Mitchell. The winner of those two games will be playing next week at Laval in Quebec City for the Vanier Cup.
There you go.
There you go.
I hope it's a competitive weekend of football like you're predicting, Ray. It should be a lot of fun to check it out. And, listen, I'd love to see Acadia in the Vanier. Let's say just for a second that if is it weird for Montreal to go play at Laval in the Vanier Cup?
I heard the last time that Montreal played at Laval for the Vanier, all the Laval fans were going for the other team.
Well, yeah, makes sense.
There you go.
Makes sense.
Hey, one other thing I want to mention, Andy, before we get out of here. We talked CFL all year.
Yeah.
We're currently on a little break.
Yeah.
A little break from our CFL show. We're waiting to hear news about the Atlantic Schooners. We're hoping that the Schooners come to fruition so we can start talking about CFL again in the future. But, Andy, this weekend there's 2 big games in the CFL. You have your Western final, Winnipeg taking on Saskatchewan. And what's interesting is Winnipeg has a quarterback that started the year off with Saskatchewan.
Only in the CFL can that happen.
That happen.
Yeah. Wow.
And in the Eastern final, you have Edmonton taking on Hamilton.
Crossover team.
So 2 big games in the CFL. They are taking place on Sunday, I believe.
Yep.
And I encourage you to check out some CFL football this weekend as well.
Since we're not doing a CFL show this week where we would normally pick these games, you want to pick them real quick?
Let's do it.
All right. Edmonton at Hamilton. I'm going Hamilton. I think Hamilton's going to defend Tim Horton Field. Their quarterback is not a backup anymore. They are Grey Cup bound. They're going to handle Edmonton, though. Edmonton's looking real tough with Trevor Harris back, the way they handled Montreal. But I got to go Hamilton.
I'm taking my brother. I'm going Trevor Harris.
Wow.
And the Edmonton Eskimos to upset the Hamilton Ticats and win this ball game. Edmonton is my pick for the Eastern final.
All right.
What do you got for the Western?
Listen, Winnipeg at Saskatchewan should be a really, really good game. You mentioned quarterback a few minutes ago, and the problem is I don't think Cody Fajardo for the Saskatchewan Roughriders is healthy.
I don't know.
He's got some problems there. I think he was advised not to play or something along those lines. I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to take Winnipeg. I'm going to take Zach Caleros and the Chris Strevler duo at quarterback, taking out Saskatchewan. That'll be in Regina too. Are you trying to do a W? Okay, all right, not bad.
My best W I got, folks.
That's not bad.
I'm all about the W. Ray, win, Winnipeg, W. I'm going Winnipeg to win the Western. Edmonton and Winnipeg in the finals.
Wow.
That's another W.
Yeah. See what I did there? There's two W's in that word.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's local sports for the week. Little CFL teaser. Hope you enjoyed it. And listen, next week is when we're going to be doing our awards. We will announce on our Facebook page when we're going to do it. But when we do it, it's going to be a live Facebook session. And hopefully, our buddy Denny Dwaron will be in studio for those awards.
The long
house. Snapper.
Yeah, we're going to give that a shot. So stay tuned. We'll let you know when that's going to happen. Otherwise, have a good week.
great week, guys.